Hey everyone, Chris here. I'm going to be taking a look at my top 10 favorite games for young families from 2022. This is a list that I enjoy doing because I have a 7-year-old daughter who likes playing games with us, and she asks to play games frequently. So these aren't her favorite, these aren't my favorite, but these are my favorite that I would recommend for families that want to play games together. So I'm going to be starting off with my number 10 Micro Macro Full City, or Crime City Full House. This is the second of the Micro Macro games. There's even a third one that's out depending on what part of the world you're in. But these are all pretty much the same thing. They're a Where's Waldo, hunt for clues and trying to solve crimes. They rate the cases from very young, family appropriate to middle. Middle range has a lot of like murder and stuff, and then the highest rated ones do have references to like drugs and other things like that that you might not want to include depending on the age of the kids in your family. You determine that yourself. But I love snooping around this map that's not a single point in time, but rather lots of different moments in time. You can follow a sane person from one area of the map, follow them along in their footsteps, see evidence around in different ways, solve these crimes as a family. It's really fun. The map is huge. It takes up the whole table. We have fun searching around, putting cubes different places to remember where all the different pieces of evidence are. One of my favorite crime-solving games, one of my family's favorites, so Micro Macro Crime City Full House. Number 9, Quacks and Co. This is the kids' version of the Quacks of Quedlinburg. I'm not a huge fan of the Quacks of Quedlinburg. I see why it's a good game. This one's very fun. This one I play a little bit more for my kid than for myself, but I do get caught up in the bag pull and in choosing to, which of these chips do I want to spend my rubies on to upgrade my bag so that I can maybe have more explosive bursts of movement up this track, or maybe so that I can have special abilities, get more lucky clovers, things like that. I find myself interested in the engine building while playing a kids game. I think that this is a good kids game. It's definitely for, on the younger side of these things here, but it's fun enough that I even say, hey, let's play the longer side of the track because I want to get my bag stronger and has some really cool, sympathetic bag pulls and stuff going on here. Number 8, Outnumbered, Improbable Heroes. This is a math game. You roll some dice, use mathematical equations and functions to add or subtract or divide or multiply these dice to take out a horde of bad guy cards that are coming to destroy the city. You're superheroes using math. The power of your mind and knowledge is half the battle. I really like this one. It's a fun setting, bright artwork. It definitely appeals to kids, but it appeals to the part of me that was a middle schooler playing crypto, if you remember crypto cards, using math to solve these problems. But it's also a pretty good cooperative game where you can get bonus action cards and get bonuses that are really strong, variable player powers. I think that overall this is a really solid design from Genius Games Kids, and I really do recommend it. That's my number 8, Outnumbered. Number 7, Ticket to Ride Ghost Train. I like the Ticket to Ride series in general. I think that their kids line, the first Journeys series, is a pretty good approximation. Very, very simplified, very quick. This one has a fun, spooky theme for it. Great for Halloween, but great for any time of year, really. But also has a few little bonuses here and there that make it a bit more interesting than the other ones in the line. Drawing cards, placing out routes and stuff. If you have younger kids especially that you want to, Ticket to Ride's not that hard of a game, but it is surprisingly difficult. And this is a great stepping stone into what I think is a great pillar of the gaming hobby, Ticket to Ride. That's why my number 7, Ticket to Ride Ghost Train. Number 6 is called Hercules from Meebo Games. Hercules is a game that is kind of like Outnumbered. You roll 2 dice and you use mathematical functions in order to try and move Hercules along and complete the 12 great arduous tasks, the Herculean tasks. This is quite abstracted. It's very mathy, but it's fun mathy. You're trying to collect bonuses by using different mathematical equations. You can collect cards that will allow you to have some dice manipulation, which I really enjoy. All of this in a bright, attractive, fun package, not too difficult. Your kid has to know multiplication, division, kind of like with Outnumbered. Outnumbered had a simplified version. This one does not, so your kid couldn't be like a 7-year-old. You'd have to know their multiplication and division. But I think this is a fun family game that I could see my daughter growing into because I really enjoy this one. Lots of set collection, rewarding you for trying to wait to complete the task in a certain order, or you could just keep completing them in a quick order to move your person along on this track very quickly, or wait for long bursts of movement. I like it either way, so that's why my number 6 is Hercules. My number 5 is Cora Quest. This is a great dungeon crawling cooperative game, very lucky. You're rolling dice and hitting, rats and ogres and stuff. Very fun dungeon crawl game made for kids, made by a kid. That kid is Dan Hughes. I'm calling him a child, and also his daughter Cora. This is a very fun cooperative game because the story is so just giggly funny. My daughter's always laughing about finding the hedgecorn or rescuing the lemon cheesecake and stuff. This also, I'm recommending this not just because the game is fun, it's basic, very lucky, right? But it does evoke a lot of creativity. The idea of making your own characters on the Core Quest website, or going and writing your own scenarios using the cards they have. They encourage that from families, and I think that is so. It's not just a fun game to play, but it's a fun kind of activity to also have other hobbies you could do. Write stories with your kids and such. So I really like it. So number 5, Core Quest. Number 4 is a little bit more on the gamery side of things. This is called My Shelfie, a Phil Walker Harding game where you are collecting these different things off the floor and dropping them into a 3D shelf. It looks like a calyx shelf, and you're dropping them like it's Connect 4. You're also dropping it like it's hot, but what you're trying to do is make groups and clusters. But you're also trying to fulfill different little objectives here and there. This is a game that I feel is very rewarding, and has such a simple premise that kids can play it. I find that Phil Walker Harding games do have this type of thing. Sushi Go, a game that adults, grown-ups can play together and have a perfectly great time with, but also kids can play those games. And this is another one of those. My Shelfie has a great presence, has great production, and I really like it. So there you go. Number 4, My Shelfie. My number 3, Don't Llama Dice. This is a push your luck dice rolling game set in the Llamaverse by Rainer Knizia. I didn't love the original Llama, but this one I have so much fun with. So much fun. And the bright rainbow unicorns, of course, makes my daughter laugh. Not unicorns, llamas. They look like bright rainbow unicorn things. But anyway, my daughter loves the llamas and everything. There's on a few cards, right? But being able to roll those dice and get rid of cards in front of you feels so great. Busting hurts so much, but also when you can get rid of a 10-point chip by clearing out your hand, it feels so great. So there's a lot of fun to be had. I like silly, ridiculous push your luck games. This is one of them. Number 2, Museum Suspects, the other Phil Walker Harding game on this list. This is a really neat little deduction game where you have a grid and array of different suspects who might have stolen something from the museum. So how do you narrow down that information? Well, you look at different clues and then you make a bet on this grid. The thing is that you'll never be able to look at all the clues. And so you have to kind of feel out how other people are betting. Wait, no one's bet on an octopus in a while since someone looked at that card. I could either look at that card to see if it says, hey, no octopi are going to be the suspect, or I could just kind of intuit that and think, oh, okay, well, I know it can't be someone in a green shirt, so I'm going to guess non-octopus, not green shirt, and everyone is kind of feeding off of each other's information. There's a little bit of double bluffing back and forth. I really like this one. It's very fun, very approachable for kids, very fun artwork. So my number 2, Museum Suspects. And then lastly, number 1, and this is one I feel very confident saying my number 1, Unlock Kids. Unlock Kids is an incredibly fun adventure where it is based on Unlock, the escape room games. But this one has 6 cases in it, and they're all shorter. There's 2 per setting, and the settings are all very fun, carnivals and stuff. And I just love the logic and the puzzle solving. It's something that my kid could figure out a lot of, but then there were other things that it took me a little bit of thinking. I thought, oh, cool, maybe I'll hint towards this and we could figure things out. It was such a fun family activity, such a fun game. One of my highest rated games actually from this last year. So Unlock Kids gets a huge shout out from me. It's a great game for young families. Hope that you found this list useful. Hope that you enjoy the rest of the Winter Spectacular.